Hey, this is Brett from Okibi. Today we're going to take a little tour of the rooms of this house in Nagano. The house is just in its starting phase of getting cleaned up and organized, and we had to make it slightly livable for the winter, so closed off a few rooms and heating only one little section of the house. So it's all full of it's in a disorganized state of affairs, and probably will stay that way for the winter. And hopefully next spring we'll be able to open things up again and get back to cleaning out the rooms. So I've always wanted to come to the mountains in a place where there's snow. It's been sort of in the plans for a number of years. I definitely enjoy the environment in the islands, on the island of Ojika as well, but the place where I grew up was had cold winters and lots of snow, and it's something that I really miss and need as a part of my life. So I always knew that at some point I would move away and come someplace where it's colder and snows and has nice winters. So this house has been empty for maybe close to 20 years now, and I had been looking at another house in the same community here, and the process of changing the name on that house was taking quite a few years, and it's unclear on when it will ever move forward. So in the meantime, I managed to make contact with the owners of this house, and they had been sort of wondering what they could do with it. It had been kind of a problem for them as to how to move forward in the future. So when I talked to them and told them that I was interested in fixing it up and using it again, sort of revitalizing it as a spot in this community for people to move and live in, they agreed to pass it off to me, put it in my care for fixing up and hopefully make it a nice vibrant place again for people to live in the future, even if in the end we don't end up using it as a long-term house. If the other one in the community becomes available, then we may end up moving there at some point. But there's several empty houses in the community here, and I think the long-term goal is to hopefully revitalize them and make them livable again, for people to move back into the community. Okay, let's go inside. So this is the entryway when you first come into the house. You can see it used to be one big open space here, but at some point a kitchen addition has been built into the entryway. So it's a little narrower now, and in the future I don't know if we'll just remodel this kitchen area and use kind of the same shape, or if this whole thing will go away. But at the moment we're using the kitchen space to get through the winter at least. Okay, kind of dark and hard to see back here, but there were a couple of rooms off the side of the main entry area for keeping the animals, so horse and or oxen, but for sure a horse or two, kept in this area. You can see some of the old cutouts in the post here where the gate used to be fit in. for keeping the animal, which was like a member of the family, of course, because it was so important to the family for their daily livelihood. Okay, so this is the setup right now for heating the bath water. There was an old wood burning boiler, I guess, here, but it was rusted out and leaking water, so I brought this sort of newer wood boiler from Ojika Island, which I had found in the garbage dump yard or whatever. I had gone to throw away some other materials, and this was just thrown away, lying in the heap of metal, of scrap metal, and a little banged up from when they obviously like pulled it out with a big wrecking car or something and threw it away. But it's fully functional, other than being a little bit dented up. So got it for free and then brought it up here and hooked it up, and you can heat the bath water with the wood-fired boiler. Okay, now we'll step up out of the entryway and into the main room. This is the wood stove that's going to get us through the first winter here in Nagano. It's just a cheap, thin-walled metal stove that gets hot really fast, but also cools down super fast and burns through a lot of wood. It's not a very efficient stove at all, but it's what we're going to use to get through this first winter until we can do some fixing up of this room and get a better stove, and probably put it in a different location too. It's kind of in this temporary spot here with the chimney going out the front of the house here through this panel I made temporarily, just so we have some kind of warmth and way to get through this first cold winter. This is kind of our main all-purpose table space, eating, working, whatever kind of main space to sit around during the day, with the stove close by for warmth, and then computers and whatever. So nice old school tables here put back to back for a nice wide space, and kind of the main area for doing work and eating in this main room during the winter. So on this side of the room, you can see there is some closet space added here, but this was not originally there. And this was the Irori room, so there was a hearth for building a fire in the floor here, and it's been partially sort of taken over. That space has been taken over by the closet. And there also used to be a kamado sort of cooking space connected to the entryway area here, and then it has this high ceiling and a space for the smoke to escape up into the under roof section and sort of smoke the thatch, which is an important part for these thatch roofed houses, to have the smoke be able to go up into the roof space, the under roof space, dry everything out, keep insects and other critters away. Kind of an important aspect for the longevity of these thatched roof houses. So at some point then these closets will come back out and rebuild the hearth space here in the floor. Okay, let's take a look at the kitchen space. Alright, so this is the kitchen. Again, just sort of a temporary setup to get us through until more serious work can be done. But it's at a point where it's at least functional now. Working sink, got hot water now finally, and IH cooking setup and cutting boards and refrigerator, all that kind of stuff. So at least we're good to go through the winter now. Okay, this is kind of the sleeping room slash clothes storage space. The only other room that's kind of halfway livable at the moment, with tatami flooring. This room was full of all kinds of trash and in really dirty shape, so I mean it still is kind of a mess to get through the winter here, but at least it's cleaned up and a livable room now. Right, this is the room in the farthest back corner of the house and would have been sort of the fanciest room, most elaborate, very high ceilings, and you have the tokonoma space here for displaying art and various items. This room also, as with all the other ones, was full of all kinds of items and still is in the process of being cleaned up. There's also been quite a bit of moisture here, and you can see sort of these white spots on the walls all around. Mold that's going to need to be dealt with, as well as this sort of sparkly wall stuff that was common in the 70s and 80s, which is not really a good material. In Japan, it's not legal to keep a sword anymore unless it's of sort of special historic value and it needs to be registered and needs to be kind of a special case. So in general, many of these, let's see. In general, you're not allowed to keep swords anymore, and so this one, the blade has been removed and it's just the case on display. So there is a window off the side of this room here, and gives you kind of a nice view to where there's actually a stream running along the side of the house, and then the forested slope up the side there. Alright, this is the Engawa, or the veranda space, off the front side of the rooms. Common in most old Japanese homes. Extends along the front of these westernmost rooms, and right now it's just sort of a staging area for all of the trash that has been sort of sorted and waiting to be taken to the disposal site. It will be a nice space eventually, with the stream again coming really close off the front side of the veranda here. And you can just imagine sort of if you were a guest staying here or something and listening to the sound of the rushing stream right nearby. Okay, let's go upstairs. So there's a small room off the side of this second floor space with a low ceiling and not a very big area, but out those windows there is a view of the mountain up the side, and there's sort of some Shinto religious items on the side. It's almost like it was like a space for meditation or reflection while looking at the mountain out the back of the house. Alright, this is one of the second floor rooms, and the farthest one to the side. The rooms on that side have really high ceilings and so don't have a second floor above them. This room was probably used for the raising and care of silkworms, so it does have a raised ceiling above us as well. And you have actually probably added on a little afterwards. Well, the glass for sure added afterwards. Original paper doors still existing on this side, but you can actually open it up to look out the back side of the house here, and windows on the front, so really nice airflow through the second floor room. On the front side of the house here, in the second floor, there's a little narrow space on the front side as well. And this is what I was using for sleeping in the summer. I opened the windows up here on the front side to let the air in, but it also lets the bugs in. And so you can see I've got the bug screen here over the area where I set my futon for the night. A nice little view of the community from the second floor. And this is the last and the biggest of the upstairs spaces here. Yeah, used for storage. When I first came into this house, all of these bamboo sections here were holding old onions that had probably been here for, I don't know, 20 years, close to 20 years or something, dried onions. And some still hanging, some all over the floor, scattered about over the years, but starting to get organized little by little. On this side of the room, you can see the extension of the main pillar called the daikoku bashira in Japanese, and it extends up. It's all nice and squared down below, and then the carpenter used the existing living shape of the tree up here, letting the curve, just sort of, yeah, utilizing the curve of the tree, and it's a really beautiful section here that you can only see from the second floor. Oh, almost forgot. The toilet and the shower bathroom area. Let's take a look. The hand washing basin and toilet, flushable, and the men's toilet on the left. All of this space, it makes it kind of cramped for using it, so maybe at some point, well, who knows what's going to happen. And the shower slash bathroom is through this door. Opening the door makes it quite difficult to get into the shower and bath. Here it is. I added a kind of modern faucet setup in here because the original one had exploded from years of frost and thaw cycles. And then the bathtub itself, like I explained earlier, can be heated with the wood-fired setup. And then the shower, currently there was some leftover gas, and so just using up the last of the gas. And at some point it'll be hooked up to probably a heat pump setup for sort of shower use. And then I think there will always be a wood-fired setup as well. So the bathtub here has obviously seen some years of use, but and it has this ring of sort of golden color around it. And I just thought I'd explain that because the water here is coming straight from the mountain, there's a big tank that gets piped then to the houses in the community. It comes right out of the stream, and it's full of minerals and stuff, so that's kind of the mineral deposit on the edges of the bathtub here. Okay, that's the end of the house tour for now. Over the next months and possibly years, there'll be all kinds of changes, so stay tuned and watch for more videos. Thanks, see you next time.